Hey guys, thank you guys for watching. I am Perplexality and this is ODST Halo Guide, and I'd like to thank you guys for clicking on the video and supporting my channel just by watching. And usually I'll be posting Halo 4 tips, strategies, commentaries and stuff, but I think I also want to affect your life outside of the gaming world. So I also kind of want to talk about some very serious philosophical things. I want to have some kind of funny pick-me-up videos, so I think I'm going to kind of get into that. I figured a great way to start off with that is talk about a question that's kind of been following me around all day. And I think it's a great thing to kind of transfer over, because we've been talking a lot about war. We've been doing the Art of War series and stuff, talk about strategies of that. And I did that partly because I want the philosophy of that to transfer over. And we kind of have a chance to look at it. And just so you guys don't know what war is, looking at war at the base essentials, it's these two sides want something. It's a piece of land, control of religious section of the world, some kind of philosophical meaning. We're going to war because of some reason. Now, I'll just say like the Crusades, since it's a land. It's one of the very famous wars that everyone's familiar with. So the Crusades, we went to war for land. And the value of the Crusades was the armor, the weapons, the catapults, everything that cost to do the war, and the cost of human lives. So in a strange way, if you take the numerical value of the land, and you subtract out the numerical value of all these supplies, we're left with a numerical value for a human life. Which is the strange thing, because war gives us a very sneak preview to see how humans have placed values on human lives throughout history. We've actually given, like, this human life is worth precisely $500, and that's how much money we're willing to sink into keeping this person alive or something. And that's a scary thought. And it's a philosophical thing that we kind of have to look at and observe, because it's very different than how we're used to thinking. But, I mean, obviously, during the Crusades, they were saying that we're willing to give up 50,000 lives in exchange for this piece of land. So, obviously, we have some kind of value, some firm physical value that we place on it. And a good illustration for this is the U.S. Civil War. There's the Union versus the Confederacy, and there's three main reasons why people believe the Union went to war with the Confederacy after the Confederacy split, seceded from the Union. So, the first reason is a very popular one, which is that Abraham Lincoln went to war with the Confederacy in order to abolish slavery, to emancipate all the slaves, which is a very noble thing that everyone likes to think, that America's always embodied this equality in man stuff, and I like to believe it too, because it's a great cause. But it wasn't really the case, and we don't really know that. The second reason could have been just to preserve the Union, just because he wanted everyone to stay together as one firm unit, and he didn't care about slavery. It might have been a combination of the two, who knows. But the third reason, which my economics teacher was discussing with me and what she believes, is that we went to war strictly for monetary reasons. That because the North piggybacked on the South, just financially speaking, they put in this amount of dollars in order to get this the South back, because the South was keeping them afloat. They had to place tariffs on the South's products and manufacture them to get exports. So technically, the South was what was keeping the North economically functionable. So they were willing to go to war in order to keep that money income, in order to keep us economically sound. And I don't know if this is true. This is an open-ended idea that you have to just get to decide whether or not you want to believe or not. But if it's true, then that means that Abraham Lincoln put a value on the thousands of human lives that were given during the Civil War, and that value was the amount of money that the South would make for the North. So obviously, we're looking at something a lot more philosophical, where we're having the value of items being placed. And I like to also think about a game that I used to love playing as a kid. I was like undefeated during my 8th grade year of school, which is chess. And chess is a very tactical game where you place the value of a certain piece. A pawn is the worst piece, and it's actually worth 1 point. A queen is the best piece, it's worth 13 points. And there are a bunch of middle pieces. Knight is 3, bishop is 3, rook is 5. King is infinite, because if you take the king, it's the end of the game. So stuff like that. So pieces are worth more than others. And strategically speaking, it's better to trade off one of your pawns in order to get a queen. But in real life, do people always agree with trading off one person in order to get another person out? And what are the ramifications of trading people, per se? Because if you look at some kind of population like the homeless or something. They don't necessarily serve a function in society. So if we looked at it as a purely logical situation, the homeless are worth a lot less than maybe the employed people in the labor force. But that's not necessarily true. That's a philosophical statement and idea. If you looked at it just on logic, then yeah, that would be the situation. But people don't always think in just logic. You know, we can't say that we're willing to sacrifice X amount of people to save X amount of different kinds of people. You know, a big idea is how much money we put on protecting the president. And so we're basically saying the president is worth this amount of money to keep him alive and safe and whatnot. You know, so obviously the nation wouldn't trade the president over in order to get a little girl. But they might trade a little girl in order to get the president because he may be worth more, but is he really? That's this philosophical question that has to be left open-ended for you guys to decide. I don't want to really influence you guys, but it's definitely something that you need to mull over in your head, think about, and come up with your own ideas. Research it on your own, because it's definitely a philosophical question of what is the value of a human life, and are other humans worth more than other humans? Because it's definitely a question that everyone has to face at some point. It really changes your output on life based on how you see this idea and viewpoint. And again, no necessary viewpoint makes you a bad person. There's some that's a more logical viewpoint. There's some that's a more philosophical viewpoint. Everything has its ups and downs, but in the end, it's just what you believe. And that's really kind of what makes us great about humans, is we have the ability to believe whatever, you know, suits us. We can choose to believe in something as long as it's for our own reason, not for everyone else's reason. And I'm about running out of time, but I really like to thank you guys for listening. It's been fun. I hope you guys will kind of mull this over. Maybe give me some more questions that you want to talk about philosophically or whatnot. And I really hope that this gives you something to think about and consider for the rest of the time. For just the near future, and kind of maybe even changes the way you look at life or something. But again, thank you guys for watching. Comment, rate, and subscribe if you really like the video. I'm Perplexality, and this is ODST Halo Guide. And again, thank you for watching. ODST, out.